meeting is being recorded.
Your lips are sweet and charming. Your face is sweet and charming. Your eyes are sweet and charming, and your laughter is sweet and charming. Your heart is sweet and charming, and your going is sweet and charming. Everything about you is sweet and charming, O Lord of sweetness.
Vachanam madhuram charitam madhuram vasanam madhuram valitam madhuram chalitam madhuram bramitam madhuram madhuradhipate akhilam madhuram.
O Krishna, your speech is sweet and charming. Your nature is sweet and charming. Your garments are sweet and charming, and your bent posture is sweet and charming. O Krishna, your walking is sweet and charming, and your creation of confusion is sweet and charming. Everything about you is sweet and charming, O Lord of sweetness.
Venur madhuro renur madhura panir madhura pada madhura nrityam madhuram sakyam madhuram madhuradhipate akhilam madhuram.
O Krishna, your flute is sweet and charming. Your flowers are sweet and charming. Your hands are sweet and charming, and your feet are sweet and charming. O Krishna, your dance is sweet and charming, and your friendship is sweet and charming. Everything about you is sweet and charming, O Lord of sweetness.
Geetam madhuram pitam madhuram bhuktam madhuram suktam madhuram rupam madhuram tilakam madhuram madhuradhipate akhilam madhuram.
O Krishna, your singing is sweet and charming. Your drinking is sweet and charming. Your eating is sweet and charming. And your sleeping is sweet and charming. O Krishna, your form is sweet and charming. And your mark on forehead is sweet and charming. Everything about you is sweet and charming, O Lord of sweetness.
Karanam madhuram taranam madhuram haranam madhuram ramanam madhuram vamitam madhuram shamitam madhuram madhuradhipate akhilam madhuram.
O Krishna, your acts are sweet and charming. Your carrying over is sweet and charming. Your stealing is sweet and charming. And your divine love play is sweet and charming. O Krishna, your exuberance is sweet and charming. And your relaxation is sweet and charming. Everything about you is sweet and charming, O Lord of sweetness.
Gunja madhura mala madhura yamuna madhura vichi madhura shalilam madhuram kamalam madhuram madhuradhipate akhilam madhuram.
O Krishna, your humming is sweet and charming. Your garland is sweet and charming. Your Yamuna is sweet and charming. and your waves of Yamuna is sweet and charming. O Krishna, your water of Yamuna is sweet and charming, and your lotus is sweet and charming. Everything about you is sweet and charming, O Lord of sweetness.
Gopi Madhura Leela Madhura Yuktam Madhuram Muktam Madhuram Drishtam Madhuram Shishtam Madhuram Madhuradipati Akhilam Madhuram.
O Krishna, your gopis are sweet and charming. Your divine play is sweet and charming. Your togetherness is sweet and charming, and your setting free is sweet and charming. O Krishna, your glance is sweet and charming, and your courtesy is sweet and charming. Everything about you is sweet and charming, O Lord of sweetness.
Gopa Madhura Kavo Madhura Yashtir Madhura Shrishtir Madhura Dalitam Madhuram Halitam Madhuram Madhuradipati Akhilam Madhuram Madhuradipati Akhilam Madhuram.
O Krishna, your gopas are sweet and charming. Your cows are sweet and charming. Your staff is sweet and charming, and your creation is sweet and charming. O Krishna, your breaking is sweet and charming, and your making is sweet and charming. Everything about you is sweet and charming, O Lord of sweetness.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Well, the word sweetness is everywhere in this Ashtakam. And of course, because it is describing beautiful and sweet Lord Krishna, it is the most appropriate word. So we are very lucky that we can come together to join to chant this beautiful Ashtakam. And I would invite everyone to please try your best to learn it. The only reason we did the meaning is for you to understand the significance. And hopefully it, you will recite with a little more focus and a little more devotion. So with this,
Bolo Sri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai, Bolo Vishnu Bhagavan ki jai. Sitaram everyone, Sitaram anti-chants and all that are glorifying Bhagavan's name. Very good. So my dear friends, before we do a little opening prayer to go into verses of Bhagavatam today, I do extend apologies for not being able to make the last session. I was held in some very important meetings that didn't allow the proper meeting for us, but however, I am here. We are here, members of the Mandir, and all who are extending their care and affection in the form of prayer to the members of this family who would have lost the matriarch of the home. We are praying to Bhagavan for this purpose. So whether it is we may have one, whether it is we may have 10, the purpose of this gathering is to appeal to Bhagavan so that he can perform his Leela in accepting that Atma to that Paramatma form. So before we proceed, the purpose of this is to offer prayer to Bhagavan to guide that Atma. Let us do so as we seek glory in the form of Katha. Hari Om Sri Govindaya Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha. Stunvanti Debhyaistavaihi. Vedai Sangapadakramopanishadai Gayanti Yam Samaga Dhyanavastita Targatena Manasaha Pashyantayam Yogino Yasyantam na virutsura suragana devaya tasmai namaha. Om Sri Krishnaya namaha. Om Sri Vishnave namaha. Om Sri Vyasadevaya namaha. Om Namo Paramatmane namaha. एक बार बोले श्री गोविंद भगवान की जय. So my dear friends, Bhagwan's blessings to all of you that are holding hands, praying, appealing to God on behalf of this family, holding hands with this family, prostrating to that Supreme. Death is no easy thing to go through. But when it is this happens, my dear friends, we have to find that solace, we have to find that strength. But if it is that we have not vested it within one's self, then it is going to be very hard to recall all of that to the forefront when it is necessary. You know, we took a few moments at the ending just before it is that we handed over to Katha to offer verses of Madhurashtakam. And as you would have heard Auntie Chancy singing and Shabana reciting now, the meaning of this, the composer of this is known as Vallabhacharya. And this individual, my dear friends, he is a bhakta of the Lord, just like you and I, but he has dedicated himself entirely, wholeheartedly, holistically in serving Bhagavan. In the Vaishnava sect, Sri Vallabhacharya, he is very renowned, my dear friends, in Vedanta philosophy. And particularly in the form of Shuddha Advaita. Shuddha means pure. And in Bhagavad Gita, the Advaita philosophy, we are familiar, Advaita Amrita Varshinim Bhagavatim. Advaita means non-dualism. So he represents the arm of Vedanta, which is called Shuddha Advaita. And if I believe I'm correct, I think he is also the founder of this type of Vedanta as well. So he contributes, my dear friends, to the pure type of non-dualism in worship to Bhagavan. You know, and even his birth is of greatness. His interaction is of greatness. His worship to the Lord is of greatness. And how he expresses that now, it is of sweetness, as we see in that Madhurashtakam. It says here, according to the accounts of his birth now, Sri Krishna Bhagavan commanded or directed rather his ancestors, the ancestors of Vallabhacharya. One of his ancestors was known as Yajna Narayan, and they instructed him, Bhagavan rather instructed him to perform 100 Somyagyas. In another forum, I'll explain to you the elaboracy of Somyagya, but this term is found in Veda a lot. So Bhagavan ordered, say, you perform 100 Somyagya, these oblations to Agni, and I will descend in your lineage. And it is said that they completed this, and on the 11th day of this month of Chaitra, Vallabhacharya was born. So it is believed now that he is also an amsa, a roop, or a partial manifestation rather of that of Bhagavan in that form of Sri Krishna. So we see this now combined in how he expresses his Lord to that Supreme. And you know, this dance that I'm explaining to you, we need to take particular attention to all those who are there. So let me draw this comparison to something in similar. We are all grieving as members of the mandir for someone who would have passed on, a member of the mandir. But that grief will be different to those who were immediately attached to that individual. Be it in the sense Sanya, Lystra, the immediate members in the home, the neighbors, and so forth. At each degree, we will be affected differently by the loss. And so too, my dear friends, each degree of how we get closer to the Lord, we will also be at a different degree in our devotion, in our bhakti. Vallabhacharya, he surrendered, he inspired many by how he composed so many of his works. But this Madhurashtakam is one of the sweetest works. So it brings about now that understanding. You see, this individual, he rejected now the aesthetic life. But he was very accepting of the Grihasti life. And you know, when we look at Kali Yuga, in this iron age, everything is ruled by technology. Where aesthetics? What aesthetics do we have? So in the Grihasti Marga, this householder's duty now, even they have to find Bhagavan. So his teachings were geared in such a way to connect that sweetness of the Lord, even in the duties, the inner workings now of everyday life with the layman, so that he could have this connection with Bhagwan. So he heavily believed that the Grihasti ashram of life now, they as well equally, they needed to find this Bhagwan. He rejected this aesthetic life. And so too, my dear friends, when we were speaking about the degree, so too we will understand God, our commitment. There's a beautiful portion in Bhagavatam, but it is a very sensitive katha if it is not read in the proper way and taken in the proper way. But when we have listened to the author, a little history of the author Vallabhacharya, and we would have also listened now to a little bit of not only the author, but the sweetness of the meaning of what he would have composed. It brings the mind a little bit to focus on the nature of the Lord, that when we speak about the Lord, it is not only a physical form like you and I, although he has this. It is also that supreme taking that manifestation for the upliftment of the bhakta, for the purpose of this bhakta. So in Bhagavad Puran, my dear friends, in this beautiful portion, Sri Krishna Maharaj is playing with the gopikas. And he is very mischievous because he plays with them in various ways and he tests them. And these tests shows how much there is their conviction. So let us turn to such verses today to emphasize the highlight of our katha. Hari Om Sri Krishnaya Namo Namaha. Om Govindaya Namaha. Govindaya Namaha. Sri Govindaya Namaha. Nadhya Kadachi Agatya. Nikapshaya Purava. Vasamsmi Krishnam Gayatantyo. Vijahru Saliye Mudha. Om Namo Paramatmane Namaha. Sri Govindaya Namaha. Bhagavan Star Abhipretya. Krishno Yogeshwaraha. Vyasir Avataras Tatra. Gathas Tat Karma Siddhaye. Om Govindaya Namo Namaha. You see, my dear friends, these verses are describing a scene where Sri Krishna Bhagavan has a beautiful scene, where Sri Krishna Bhagavan is up in a tree and he is calling out to the gopikas who are immersed in a lake. Because these same gopikas, they were engaged in vrat. What is vrat? The members of this family are engaged in Anteshti Karma Yagya Vrat, where it is that for this time they are sacrificing yagya to perform this vrat to Krishna Bhagavan for the upliftment of the departed. So through all of these pinda, tarpan, prayer to Bhagavan, all of this is recorded in Ved that man should perform to assist now that departed through these samskars. 15 we go through, 16 we depend on others who we have left behind to perform. So it said that these gopikas, they were very young, very, very young, but they were performing vrat and they wanted to worship that divine Devi in the form of Katyayini Devi, that Mata Durga in that form. And when it is now, they performed all of this vrat, they performed their fasting, their puja and so forth. At the end of this vrat, it would have also ended in going to the lake to have their bath as well. So while doing this, they are chanting, they were praying, and they were singing the name and the glory of the Lord. But the purpose of the vrat to Mata Katyayani Devi Ma in that form, it was they were doing this vrat to attain that blessing of Sri Krishna. They were worshipping Bhagavan in that form, in that manifested Devi, so that they can attain now that Bardhan, that blessing of Hari himself. So we see, sometimes we do not go in the direct manner to achieve certain things, and we see there's a process and a progress. And we speak about this in the process of prayer, my dear friends. That in the process of life, there are several stages that we will have to go through. And if it is that we don't utilize now the proper methodology at the appropriate stages, we can become a little bit shaken. So these verses are saying that one day in this beautiful scenery, in this river, where this lake is, Bhagavan himself, he is hiding in the tree. And he would have already stolen the clothes of these gopikas. And they were playing very happily. And they were singing and praying unto the Lord. Now, this is a very sensitive katha. But you see, I'm relating this particularly to our members because, we have to expose or treat the katha with the importance, also with the respect, and narrate the katha in ways where it is a G rating, not a PG or not even R. It is a G rating. So when it is that we disseminate this proper information, we have the proper gyan, the outcome. It is there. So Bhagavan himself now is playing in the Leela. The sweet Lord is playing. He is saying that you are praying to the Devi to attain me. Let us see how it is that you will attain me. Bhagavan stam abhipretya Krishno yogeshwaraha vyasar avatars tatra gatasta karma siddhaye. He said that's really the same Krishna Bhagavan. He's the master of all masters. He's the master of all sorts of siddhas, of yogas. And he was aware of the purpose of all of these activities of the gopis. And here it is now. He surrounded all of these companions in this way, in this form. And it is through the process of prayer, my dear friends, we will be able to continuously pray to the Lord and supplicate to him. And in this way, we connect with Bhagavan and we dance, and it is a beautiful process. But at times, the emotion that which we may have when we will listen to a bhajan, when we will glorify the Lord in song and puja and so forth, is a divine emotion. And that is pure because of the method of practice again and again, abhyas, it becomes pure again and again. But also we have several other emotions. We have the anger emotion, and that is easily provoked. And there's the sadness emotion, which quickly comes about by the process of death. And in this process, my dear friends, when we grieve, it is a pure state of emotion when we can focus or channel that to the Supreme. These gopis were desiring the Lord, and they channeled that in a particular way. But he also channeled that energy, or rather, he also challenged that appeal, because it's the saying that when we pray to Bhagavan, he blesses us. You take one step to him, he takes 10 to us. But that 10, I think he dances around you before he comes and stands in front. And this is the sweetness of Bhagavan, because not only he gives to you, but he steals from you and then he gives to you again. This is the sweetness again. He's telling them to come. He said, Namayodhi purvam va antaritan imam vidhu. I have never spoken a lie to you. And O Devis, please come forward and collect which is yours. They were not in an appropriate way to approach the Lord, so they felt embarrassed. Because sometimes we can also relate to this. If it is that we are performing a little ritual and we have prepared to our best, and our guru comes to the home or respected elder comes to the home, and something is missing, we may feel a little embarrassed at that point in time because we may have elaborately prepared. But at that junction, it may be improper according to Bidhi to leave the respected altar where you have vested the Lord now to go to re-prepare certain things. So there's a little allotted space where it is that we understand now that Bhagavan, where it is that we are worshipping now, there's this interaction of karma that goes on in all of these rituals, the prayer, in life, and all of this. And what he has taken away is also by some sort of karma what is missing, what is there also. So these gopikas were being called now by Bhagavan. And they glanced at each other. They wanted to approach him, but they still did not go to him. Sometimes our rituals can assist us to be close to the Lord, but same rituals, if it is not taken in the appropriate way, it can also get us a little bit deterred from certain things. And especially when it is we do not have the proper information. So too in this process, when it is that we are praying to Bhagavan, just as how the Lord plays his Leela, he gives to us and he takes from us in this home. he has taken away the matriarch of the home because of karma. That was arranged already because of karma. But the Leela further goes on, where it is through karma, through samsara, through ritual, we are bounded to perform such. But who he has left behind, who she rather has left behind, all of this will indirectly bring you closer to the Lord, will bring you directly to the Lord. You are praying for the Atma of the deceased to go to Bhagavan. And that is already good. That will happen because that is karma. That will happen, and this is how it is supposed to be. We complement that journey as well with all of our prayer and so forth. But he is bringing you closer every time we engage in such practices, every time we listen to Katha and so forth. He says, Govinda told now. He said, I am telling to you, come, evam bruvati Govinde. Narman kshipita chetasa. Akanta managa sitode. Vepamanas tam abhruvam. He says he's telling them, Govinda is speaking to them, he's joking with them. His words are captivating their minds, and they are still not coming to them. And the Lord is beautifully speaking to them. You know, this is what the Lord does to us. In our state, even if our body is affected, even if this mind is shaken, the Lord is still giving us a direction through ritual, through katha, to be closer to him. And they are appealing to the Lord now. So all of the time, the Lord is speaking to them. And now these gopikas, they are telling to him, they are making bargain. What are they saying? Govinda bolo Hari Gopal bolo. Govinda bolo Hari Gopal bolo. Radha Hari Govinda bolo. Radha Hari Govinda bolo. Govinda bolo Hari Gopal bolo. Govinda bolo Hari Gopal bolo. Radha Hari Govinda bolo. Radha Hari Govinda bolo. Radha Hari Govinda bolo. Bole Krishna Maharaj ki jai. Manyam bho kritas twam tu Nanda Gopa Sutam Priyam Jani Mona Vraja Shalyam Dehi Vasam Smive Pita Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Govinda Maharaj ki jai. You know, beautifully the Gopikas are addressing the Lord. And how we address the Lord, sometimes we can tell the direction what we want. Madhurashtakam, we are thinking about the sweetness of the Lord. And this is how the Gopikas viewed the Lord. Every verse, every written line of that Madhurashtakam composed by that Vallabhacharya, it gives us a little glimpse in how the Gopika saw the Lord. How sweet is the Lord, his eyes, his lips, his drinking, his walking, his singing, everything about Bhagavan is sweet. So when the Gopikas looked at the Lord, it is totally different. And as mentioned, when we have our relation with those who we love, it is totally different from those who we are not around or not close to at times, because of that growing affection that we have. So my dear friends, Krishna Bhagavan is listening to the Gopikas are saying, he says, Nanda Gopa Sutam Priyam. He says, O son of Nanda, you are the beloved of him, listen to us. So if it is that I'm speaking to a child and he's doing something wrong, and I know his mother or his father, or better, let me give a better example. Long time when it is this Baba will misbehave in little puja or something, you will hear a little Radhay Pundit or a smaller Pundit or something like that, because they knew my father. So they addressed me because they knew I was doing something wrong. So they called me by my father's name or something, a title first. So that will inspire something in my mind. So then I will react differently as opposed to now being spoken to in a different way. So too the Gopikas are addressing Bhagavan. He says, Hey Prabhu, hey Bhagavan, do not be unfair. You know what is the accord of Shastra. Please, we are demanding what is our rights. Give us back what is ours. He says, we are shivering. This is not appropriate, what it is that you are doing to us. Shyam sundarate dasya karavam tavoditam dehi vasam siddharmaja nache ranje bruvam he. He says, Shyam Sundar, we will do anything. He says, we are your servants, but first you have to give us back what is ours. You see, look, listen, are we like that at times? Shyam Sundar, we are your servant. I will do anything for you, but give me this first. Give me that first. So Shyam Sundar is listening, the beloved, the beautiful Shyama. And he's laughing because this is the Lord. He knows the principle of the religion, of the Dharma. He knows about even the Shastra, the Ved, the Vidhi, but what he is looking for is the bhav, that devotion that you have. And just as the relation and the love will be different according to, as mentioned, the relation, that bhav to the Lord will be different according to the mind. When we can transcend now the discomforts of the physical body, whether it is pain, whether it is the embarrassment of being fully stripped of everything, whether it is the fear of certain movements forward, by having divine trust, divine faith in Bhagwan, he delivers that which he tells in Bhagavatam that he will do. He will deliver his devotees. It is said that when it is that these gopis, they knew now that that Lord is very persistent in bringing them to him, they gave up everything. Still in a shy way, they approached the Lord, and the Lord demanded to them that if it is that you are here and you need everything, you fully prostrate to me. When it is that they were totally renounced and fully prostrating to that Lord, my dear friends, Bhagavan gave to them, and he told them that he's understanding of every action and the reason it is being performed. You know, sometimes we are so interwoven in some of these practices in which we will perform that we will lose track of the importance. The reason I'm telling this katha tonight is we have a Devi in our mandir, a little Devi by the name of Sanya. And by her participation, she's an inspiration now to the younger ones, to her Pundit, and also to all of the elder ones. And this little Devi has gone through death in her family, where her love and affection to her grandmother, we will not understand. But if we can channel that, Sanya and Dilistra, if you are listening, that sincere grief because we are missing that individual of our home, when we channel that now to that Supreme, appealing to him, it helps tenfold to that deceased Atma and also to us, because what can we do? That body has gone. That breathing life in this physical body has gone. So everything needs to be surrendered to Bhagwan. And the Lord says that he knows this. But do not be distracted by all of the physical things, in the things at which we have, which we may not have. In which we have, we are supposed to offer it to him. Which we are not having or not in possession of, be contented and also offer everything to him. You know, this portion, this katha is a very lengthy katha, but also as mentioned, it is a very sensitive katha if it is not spoken in the right way. Not only the physical clothes from our bodies will be stripped to cause embarrassing situations. We can put ourselves in embarrassing situations. We can do things to be embarrassing and so forth. But it is said here that when we depend on Bhagwan, that desire is curbed. When we depend on Bhagwan, all of those now unnecessary emotions will be completely dedicated to Hari, will be completely dedicated to Narayan. So this portion of Bhagavatam ends in a very beautiful way, where Bhagwan, after giving the belongings to the gopis and they returning home, he promised them that he will be present there, he will bless them. It says that Bhagwan himself, in the ending portion of this katha, because he's about to bless the wife of the Brahmins, but he draws his friend's attention, the further gopis, to the blessing of one of the trees. And this, my dear friends, is how I would like to end my portion of katha before we go into any portion if planned. It says here that Aho Esham Varam Janma Sarva Pranim Upajivanam Sujansyam Yesham Vai Vimukha Yanti Natrahin. It says, just see this tree, O gopis. Just see this is a living entity. And just see how these trees are maintaining all other living entities. So this living entity is maintaining all other living entities. And it says that their birth is successful and their behavior is just like that of great personalities. So the tree is being compared to the behavior of the Mahatmas. We spoke about what is a Mahatma. And it says, for anyone who asks anything of this tree, never goes away disappointed. And this is the nature of trees in the nature of trees in nature. I said that these same trees, they will fulfill all their desires of those who will approach them for their leaves, for their fruits, for their shades, for their roots, for their bark, for their wood, even for their fragrance, the sap, the ashes, the pulp, everything, the shoots. The tree never lets anyone go without what they have approached for. They always leave. He says, so too, O Bhakta, etva janma saphalayam dehinam iha dehishu prane atre dhiya vacha sriyam acharam sada. He says, so too, it is the duty of every living being to perform welfare for the activities, for the benefit of others with his dear life. And when he does this in this manner. It is your duty you are doing. It's not only for you, but every living being, every entity, you are to perform your dharma for the upliftment of those lives as well. And when it is that you do this now, everything, yan mantan, with your life, with your wealth, with your intelligence, with your words, you are worshipping that supreme, my dear friends. And in this way, performing welfare for all beings, I always say Shrad Karam, what this family, the devotional members of this family are engaged in. If we can do this with this manner, welfare, this prayer is being done for the welfare of all beings, not only for the traveling, the prate, but also the ritual connects with all beings in nature itself. This is the marga, how it is we are assisting that Atma. So let us follow some of these divine principles, my dear friend. Let the trees be an inspiration. It never lets anyone goes empty-handed. It gives shade, it gives everything. So this is how this katha teaches us that so too, be like the trees in nature, which are sustaining, which are giving. Bolo Sri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. So my dear friends, thank you very, very much for giving me the opportunity to make my simple contribution of a little bit of Bhagavad Katha tonight. And again, I do apologize for not being able to be here in the last session. But trust again for future sessions. I think during the week, if Shabana and Lister will speak, I think either Tuesday or Friday, I may have a little more time. So further we can go into a little bit of Katha again. So having performed little worship to the Lord, Hari Kripa, let us offer a little closing mantra, seeking the blessings of Bhagwan upon all those who are holding hands with us virtually, and all those who are offering prayer for the benefit of that break. Hari Om Shantakaram Bhujagashainam Padmanabham Sureshvam Vishwadharam Gagana Sadrisham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Lakshmi Kantam Kamalanainam Yogi Virdhyana Gamyam Vande Vishnum Bhavaiharanam Sarvalokaikanatam Om Manadhirinarudevam Shankachakra Gadadharam Akshare Pundari Kaksha Pretamoksha Prado Bhava Pretamoksha Prado Bhava Pretamoksha Prado Bhava Pretamoksha Prado Bhava. Boliye Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Boliye Raja Ramchandra ki jai. Sitaram.